Hi everyone. Can you guys hear me? Okay. So we know this session is going to be about scholarships and schools application portal. So at first I'm going to be talking about what scholarships are, how to find scholarships, and how to also um, steply go through your application portal and tips to make it a very nice application. What are scholarships? We know that scholarships are given to people who are capable of the scholarship, and often the scholarships are given to selected students with the criteria. This could be like in a financial way as well. So the type of scholarships that we see here are just a second. There's merit-based scholarships, which are given to students who show an excellency in academics, athletics, or even arts. Some people I know have been given scholarships because their artwork is amazing. So I'm pretty sure all of you will have something that will make you capable of getting a scholarship. Then we have the need-based scholarship, which is given to students who are not financially well, so they are given a scholarship that gives them a chance to study, even though they're not financially well. Then we have institutional scholarships, which are provided by schools or universities. Of course, for that, they will also you'll need to apply, or they could select you if you're doing really well at school. And if a teacher suggests you to them, you could get it that way. And lastly, we have third party scholarships, also known as external scholarships. These are often offered by organizations. I know organizations such as Beacon, which gives scholarships, but for those, you need to do um, extra work for them, like write essays to them about your progress and how it has been for you, the scholarship process, and everything. So that's one of them. Where can you find these scholarships? So a lot of scholarships if the school is giving a scholarship, it will definitely be mentioned on their website. So you can go check whatever school you're interested in, or you can just type if you want in Tanzania, Tanzanian schools that provide scholarships, or anywhere else you want to. So on their website, you will definitely find the application process, the steps, and everything present there. You can also get news from your local organizations and NGOs. You could also check on newspapers. A lot of times, like schools market their scholarships on newspapers, so that's a great opportunity you can take. Social media and networking, that's also a really good way to find scholarships. I personally found my scholarship on social media because I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw a post. Someone had reposted it, so I checked and I found out more about it. So that's how I got to know about UWC scholarships. So that's a really good way. And I'm pretty sure all of you have Instagram accounts, and it's so much easier. You could also check websites like scholarship.com, I think is one of them. So you can go research about the scholarships, research about the schools, and get to know local resources. You could use the people around you, such even alumni. You could talk to previous people that have graduated from schools and find out like what scholarship they went through. Was it a third party? Was it locally in the school? And that would really help you get advice as well on how they managed to get in and all the things like that. Okay, so finally to the application stage. So every everywhere you apply, you will have an application stage, And that application stage really needs to, it's the first impression you're giving to the people you're applying to, the people that are going to go through your application and also check like if you're capable. So this application portal needs to be really nice, really well organized. Otherwise, your first impression is not going to be as good as it's supposed to be. Moreover, you also like need to make sure every single step in the application portal is done properly, and all the things you need have been put correctly labeled and everything. To Your application basically reflects your personality and character, and it should be organized. Otherwise, your first impression to them will be you're not an organized person, you did not put enough time in the application, or you do not care enough to get the scholarship. So I believe like your application should be well organized and perfect. You have to make sure you're done with your application at least 3 days or 2 days before the actual deadline, so that you have enough time to like review all the answers you wrote, review if all the documents you need are present, and also you can go ahead and take another step by going through the school's value systems and seeing what they need in a student in their school, and check whether your answers are matching their value systems. If not, you can tailor them like accordingly. That would really help, as they would realize how you match their school and they would want you for their school. Okay, here are some of the tips I'm going to share for your application stage to make your application go smoother. So as I said, make sure everything is organized and easy to access. Everything should be labeled correctly in the correct form. Um, they often give you a way they want you to name your thing. For example, if it's my passport copy, it should be Rehana passport, and then it should be in a PDF form or whatever form they advise you to give in. That's how it should be. To make this easier, you could use Cam Scanner, which is a really good app. You just take a picture of anything, any document you need, and it will scan it for you and make it very like clear, so that it's easier for you to send it as well, because it has an option of saving as PDF, as Word, and everything. So Cam Scanner is a really good way to do this. Check all the things that you need for your application. Here's a checklist of the things that you may need. So, records of academic achievements, such as your report cards, certificates, everything. You also really, really need to get letters of recommendation. This is a really good way, as because it's coming from someone who's been with you through your academic process and they know how capable you are. So, a recommendation letter from them will uh, most of the times they're really needed, but if not, try and get them, because you will be giving them proof that you're actually this way, and it would be from someone that's like um, trustable, because the recommendation letters need to be stamped. And I would suggest, if you do need recommendation letters, please try get them from like way before the deadline, at least 5 days before the deadline, because teachers sometimes don't take these things seriously and they may not give in enough time for that. So I advise to speak to the teachers way before you even have like applied or something. Make sure you have them, because sometimes teachers forget, or like they're busy and stuff, so they don't really have enough time to do it for you. And make sure to get them stamped by the school so that it's authentic. So you may also need proof of financial need. I'm not sure if this comes in the application stage, but it will come in later. For that, you need to have your bank documents ready, um, like marriage certificates of your parents or anything that's related to financial stuff. So for that, I advise you to also get it done earlier, because you never know. Sometimes maybe the bank's closed or you can't get access to them. So you need to speak to them earlier, speak to your parents earlier, tell them the situation, make sure they also get it for you, get it done for you, everything, get all the documents for you. And your personal statement or essay. So, not all scholarships will require to write an essay for the application, but I know some of them do. So, make sure you work on them really well. You take your time, don't procrastinate on it because you will need the time they've given you. They've thought of the time, like they've really thought about the time they've given you. That's why you really should use all the time you have for it. Otherwise, you may not do it properly. So, make sure you do it on time and then review it well. Ask your friends or your family or even your teacher to review it. They can help you point out your mistakes, and then could also give you advice on how to improve the essay. That way you're also showing personal growth. You're ready to accept your mistakes and start and improve on them. So here we have more tips. As I said, research the school and its values. Sometimes a school would really focus on being sustainable. So, for example, if they ask you a question, I would recommend going through the school values and then thinking about their values. If it's being sustainable, then you should really tailor your response according to that. You could say, I believe being sustainable is very important and give reasons why it is, and also say that's why you are capable, that's why you are perfect for the school because you take these things to importance and you actually work on them. Also, think why you want to get into the school, think why you need the scholarship, think about your goals and write about them. And it should be really specific to yourself. All your answers should be very personal to yourself. So you need to think a lot about why you want to do this, what are your goals, what do you want to achieve, and then you can show them how you want to achieve, how the school is going to help you achieve them, how the scholarship is going to help you achieve them. Make sure you have the deadlines written out. So I would suggest using calendar. Any calendar anywhere can help you sort out and like get organized. So you could have reminders and dates on the calendars that would give you a reminder one day earlier about the deadlines, and so you make sure you're on track and don't miss out anything. So also label all the files correctly and make sure you've uploaded the correct file. Sometimes we could upload a different file and that's not going to be nice because when they're going to view your application, they don't want to see the incorrect file. So you need to make sure the correct file is there labeled correctly and for each section you have put the correct file. For this, you can always review and check before you submit, just check each file properly. Uh, Also, be sure to follow their format that they provided you. They're very strict on that. If they say PDF, it should be a PDF. If it's an image and you want to convert it to PDF, you can go to Google, search picture to PDF conversions, and there'll be so many sites you can use to convert it to PDF. So make sure you're really doing that. Um, Fine. Yeah, also make sure you review your application at least 3 times, and you can give it to a friend, family, teachers, anyone to view it for you, give you advice again to make sure all the mistakes are cut. Yeah. Another thing is think about the questions asked very carefully and make sure your responses you actually respond to the question and not just say about something else. You need to take the question and see what they're asking you, think about them, make it very personal, think about it if it's ethical, if it's right to your community, and if you're actually showing growth as a person. And you should also show your ability to grow as a person. You should accept that you have made mistakes. You should accept that you can change and you can take time to realize stuff and change as well. Okay, so most of the times in most of the applications, they would ask you about your achievements and sometimes I know people get confused on what kind of achievements to keep. So you can definitely put high grades as an achievement, your research projects, any science fairs you have won, any just educational fairs you've won, any awards you've got, like um, being the most interactive in class, being a, um, a thinker, any kind of awards that show your personality is good. Um, and then examples of services, extracurricular activities. If they ask you, you could say uh, anything you do outside of studying. So that can include clubs and organizations such as MUN, debate clubs, and art clubs. You can also say sports because it's not part of your studies, so it is an extracurricular activity. Also, if you have sports achievements, you can also keep them in your achievements. Sports is also a great way to show your achievements, and sometimes sports can give you a scholarship. So make sure, like, even if you have awards, certificates, anything from sports and you're really proud of it, make sure to put them in. Also, leadership roles such as being captain of a football team, basketball team, anything, being a head boy, head girl in class would also do well. If you, to be honest, any leadership position would work, even if it's just being group leader for something, like you have a group research work and you're in charge of being taking care of everyone and organizing. You can say that group leader, anything. And when you talk about leadership, try and mention how it was difficult for you to manage everyone, keep everyone in task, but eventually you ended up like successing in it, as we all know that being a leader is not really that easy as it seems, and it has its own challenges for it. You may have sacrificed some things, so you should mention that, make it very personal. If you have an example of how you've sacrificed something, maybe you were supposed to go to an event, but like you are the leader, that's why you had to stay in and keep everyone in task, make sure everyone is doing the right thing, assign work to people. So you can say how you sacrificed that for your leader, and how being a leader was, you prioritized being a leader because you wanted to see everyone go in the right path. Also, skills and talents you may mention. So I know uh, in Tanzania we speak Swahili, and then we also speak English. And if you have other languages that you can speak, that would be great to mention because you'll be a more diverse person, and they would see that you have up. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna take you through it step by step. So the question is, how do you contribute to your community and why it is important to you? So first, there are two parts to this question. There's the how part and there's the why part. For the how, firstly, you need to deeply reflect on the question and like think what the question is actually asking you. So here in this case, it's asking you in what ways do you contribute to your community, meaning what services do you do for your community, and by a community, I don't mean just the people around you, just where you're living. I mean, in school, you could have clubs, anything, just in general, where you are present. That's basically your community. So, for that, you can think about all the things you've done, list them down, and choose one of the greatest ones you've done. And like, what's the most important things you've done. So after this, you need to think deeply and reflect on yourself. You need to think how these services have made you feel. Did you grow as a person? Did you feel good about yourself? Did you feel happy? You could help organize something, you could help in taking stuff, gathering stuff, donating them, organizing drives. There's different types of drives. So there's food drives, gift drives. You could collect people, you could announce in school that I'm looking for donations. It could be money as well. You could do drives of gifts. You could say I'm organizing a gift drive for the children in this orphanage. Everyone is included. So, like I said, the activities I planned helped this. So you're showing that you do not discriminate, you do not criticize anyone, you welcome everyone, which says a lot about you. So I believe you should always, to your response, make sure you're showing that about you. Make sure you're really showing your personality. This contribution is important to me because it fosters a sense of belonging among students. So this is the why part to why I engaged in the community and why I did this. So here, as it says again, because it brings a sense of belonging into students, which I believe all the students need to work as a team together, and as this tailors them to work in the future. Because when you start working, going to university in the future, teamwork is very, very important. You always need to be open to advice and also open to be giving advice and accepting your mistakes. I believe that creating opportunities for collaboration and fun can help build a supportive school culture where everyone feels valued. Once again, you need to show your personality through this. So, where I said where everyone feels valued, I'm again making sure that they realize I'm that kind of person and I want to make everyone feel valued and feel like they belong. So, everyone has fun and there's no place for discrimination or criticism here. So, through this experience, I've learned the importance of leadership, communication, and adaptability skills. I hope to continue developing while making a positive impact on the communities I am part of. So, this last sentence is not really necessary, but it's good to have as it concludes everything and just sums up the whole thing and says how you want to be part of of your community. You want to keep on doing these activities to engage the people in your to make the people in your community engage and make them feel worth of who they are. So this is a really good way to sum up everything, as if they read the last sentence, it will stick in their head because it's shorter and it has summed up everything. So I'm just gonna ask some of you to write what difficulties are you facing so far while doing your application, or what difficulties do you think you'll face? If you have any difficulties, you can even speak if you want. Okay, so if not, I'm just gonna sum up a little more on the application process. So if you do have any difficulties, then you can always reach out and email the person organizing the event and the scholarship as well. Make sure you can find their emails on their websites and everything. So that would be a really good way to get help from, as they know what you need and they're the best person to ask. If not, you could also go to, if you don't feel comfortable with that, you could also go to people that have gone through the process and have got in. That way they could tell you all their experiences and their their problems as well, and give you advice on how to solve your problems and give you advice in general. Another thing you should really focus on is deadlines and just submitting everything on time. Like, if possible, you could even submit your whole application 2 or 3 days earlier in case on that day the Wi-Fi stops working or you have technical issues. So that would be a really good way to just make sure you're done with everything on 2 3 days before the deadlines, and then submit after. Also, have backup copies of everything that you put in your application. It would be really useful to go through them once on the next stage of the application. For example, if you have an individual interview or a face-to-face interview with them, you should review your application and make sure you say the same things. Also, make sure all the information you're putting in is consistent. You don't want your you don't want your information to be different at different places. If I'm asked for my parents' name here and in another form, they should be the same, exact same, all the spellings, because this is going to be your first database, basically the first data they're going to have about you, and it should be really accurate. Okay, now we're going to go to common mistakes you should avoid. So, as I said, I've been really strict on missing deadlines. I've repeated a lot of times because it's very important. And also uploading incorrect files. You should really be careful. I once for school uploaded an incorrect file and I got like really bad, like I had to face the consequences. So that is also very like important to make sure you have the correct files for each of the correct section. um, Also, you should never be ignoring messages from the community. Make sure you follow up with them. Make sure you read everything they sent you, because there's a reason why they've sent you this. So make sure you read and think about everything they've said, follow all the steps. Otherwise, you could face consequences. And yeah, as I said again, inconsistent information. Make sure everything matches. All the data you put is correct and should match wherever you put them. Not following instructions. Please always follow instructions. Read the question, read what they're asking you to do, and make sure you're following everything according to that. Do you guys have any questions? Okay, if not, I will talk about my experience and how I felt while applying to UWC. So I'm from UWC East Africa and I'm in the Arusha campus. I had applied through the national committee route through Tanzania. And for that, I found it on Instagram, as I mentioned earlier. And there was a link and there was a Google form that I went through and took into consideration. Just a reminder, you can type in your questions if you don't want to speak. Okay, if there are no more questions, I will continue about my process. So there was a Google form which I went through and I took my time to read all the questions first. I didn't jump on to writing answers. And I think that's important because you need to know all the questions, then you may get an idea on how to answer them and things. So I needed the basic things I needed for my application was my passport to prove that I'm a Tanzanian and my birth certificate, my parents' contact, my email. And yes, this is very important. Please put an email that you always use because they're going to use that email to contact you. And always check your email regularly, check your spam because most of the times emails can go to spam. So if you feel like you're not getting any response, please check your email regularly and check your spam as well. Yes, so they asked for my email, my number, and then it went on to the question part and how I all the questions that show my personality, show that I have personal growth, and that took me a while to answer. Most of them had word limits. I'm not sure about all the scholarship processes, but this one had word limits. So that was one challenge to. Do you have a question, Aiden?
I have I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
So, what's about with the interviews? I mean, those physical interviews.
Okay, so those come after the basically the online application, and if like when you're selected from that, they can call you in for an individual interview that would be face to face. But not all scholarships or not all schools do that. Some just may have like an individual online interview, or may not even have an individual interview at all.
Um, I was speaking about your UWC application. I mean, how was the interview there?
Or the individual interview.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so for that, the questions were very similar to the questions that they gave me on my first Google form, on my first application. And the questions were very personal about how I interact with the community, the challenges I faced, and everything. So that's something like you should look to after this, because I think your main focus should be on the actual application right now, but they were very similar to what the questions you'll have right now.
Okay, thank you. But also, what determines the percentage of financial assistance you get in those scholarships?
That depends on how your family is doing financially, and they need to have access to your bank documents and things to check that.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. Does anyone else have a question?
Rehana,
Yeah.
so this scholarship application usually takes you to different countries. So maybe I'm in Tanzania and they take me to Hong Kong. Is there a way that I can reschedule?
Reschedule what?
Maybe
The
they take me to another country, but it's not
no.
really, I'm not comfortable with that.
Usually they choose the country for you depending on your personality, and they don't really give you an option on where you want to go, so I don't think that's possible unless you
Mm,
speak to them personally.
okay, thank you.
No worries. Does anyone else have a question? They could even type it. Okay, as I was saying, after the questions and how you need to answer them, like showing personal growth and everything, they also need proof of your academic achievements, so your grades, your most recent grades, and the grades from your past 2 years, maybe. They also need your like any other achievement that you have, maybe certificates for that. Finally, they also like I don't think you should stress a lot about your application. Just be yourself and show that you can grow as a person and show that like you are capable of this school and why you really need this scholarship, and everything will go well. And hopefully this session helped you get the confidence as well. So if does anyone have a question? If not, then I think we're done for today. I hope this session helped you. Should transcripts be written in one paper? Transcripts from school or like from banks, but all of them should be in one document unless they have different sections for school transcripts and bank transcripts. So for those, you need different documents and you need to organize them well differently, meaning we have to prepare them. Yes, but try and print them out instead of writing them, as it will be more clear, and then you can scan them. Okay, anyone else? Okay, then I think we're done for today. Thank you everyone for joining and cooperating with me. I hope this session helped you, and I hope I have made you feel more confident and in ease. Thank you.